Hi guys, hope you're doing good. In this video, we are going to learn about the input and output function and as well as the format specifier or the verb that are available in Go programming language. First, let us go ahead and see what are the verbs or the format specifier that are available. Now, %v is one format specifier that helps you to print the values, right? If at all I want to print any value, right, irrespective of the data type, if I want to print any value in general, I will be using %v. And if I want to print the type of the value or the variable, I'll be using %t. And for numeric data, for example, if it is integer or unsigned integer, I'll be using %d. And if I want the numeric data to be printed in any format like binary or octal or hexadecimal, I'll be using %b for binary and %o for octal and %small x or capital X for hexadecimal, right? As far as hexadecimal is concerned, you will be getting characters from A to F. You want that character from A to F to be printed in small case, you will be using %small x. And if you want that to be printed with capital A to F, and you will be using capital X. And you want the data to be printed in scientific notation, you will be using %e. And if you want the value to be printed with decimal point values, you'll be using %f, and you will be using %g as well. The difference between %f and g is that %f will provide 6 decimal places after the decimal digit, right? It will give you 6 decimal places by default, right? For example, if I give 10.23, my output will be 10.23 followed by 4 zeros. So by default, the %f will provide you 6 digits followed by the decimal place. And whereas %g will provide you only the necessary digits. For example, if I have my value as 10.23, if I use a %dg to print the value, I'll be getting only 10.23 and %s for string. And these are the input functions, right? You have scanf, scanln, and scan. All these three things will get the input from the standard input. And if I have scanf, Sscanln, and Sscan, these things will get or read the input from the buffer, right? And I have output functions, which is printf, println, and print. All these things print the data on the standard output. And you have sprintf, sprintl, and sprint. All these things will print the content to a buffer. So let us go ahead and see some example to understand what are these things. Let me say package main and then say import fmt. This is very important because like any of your built-in functions, your scanf or printf, everything is there inside the fmt only. And let me create an entry point, that is my main function. And let me create some 3 variables. I'll say ival int, let me initialize it to 10. I'll say fval, let it be float, let me initialize it to 23.34. I'll say cval, and then say complex, I'll say 1 plus 2i, right? I've initialized. Now let me try to print all these values. I'll say fmt dot, let me give you the example for print first. If I want to print the values using print, I don't have to give anything, just give print and then followed by the variable names. I'll say ival, fval, cval, right? So when I do this, all these values will be printed with the space separated, right? So all these values will be printed with the space separated. Let us see how it prints. Let me create a new terminal. Okay, go run go_example. Now you can see all your data are printed with space separated, right? So I have not given any space. By default, print statement separates the value with spaces, and after the end of the line, it never go to the new line. It will stop there. It will print and it will stop there. You can see the percentage at the end. It means that I am not going to the new line, right? So print and println almost same, right? If I put println here, let us see what happens. The only difference between print and println is that print prints in the same line and stops there, and printf prints the data and goes to the next line. You can see that, right? This percentage is not here. It's going to the next line, right? So it is creating a new line here at the end. That is the use of println, right? So print and println are almost same. There is no difference at all, right? Both the things will print the data on the standard output, wherein like print statement will print the data and it will stop there, and println will print the data and go to the new line. That is the difference between print and println. And if there is any error, it will throw an error back. Okay, so the println and printf, right? Let me complete this printf first, and then I'll explain you about what it returns. Okay, now if I say printf, it will expect you a format specifier, right? We need to mention the format specifier. The data will be printed based on the format specifier, right? So let me give the format specifier here. Format specifier for integer is %d, for float is %f, for complex that is also %f only, right? So let us try to print these things using printf. So whenever I say printf, I have to give the format specifier or the verb, right? In Go we call it as verb. In general we call it as format specifiers. In Go they call it as verb, right? So if I give like this, and I'll print it. So it's printing the value 10, and you can see since it is %f, you can see that 23 point followed by 6 values after the decimal place, right? You can see all 6 values after the decimal place. And if you don't want the 6 values after the decimal place, what you can do is you can give %g. That will give only the necessary values, right? Not all, right? It will give only the necessary digits. You can see the difference by yourself, right? So it is 10, 23.34. What I have given here, 23.34, only 2 digits. That's a necessary digit. It will print only that. And for complex, I have given 1 plus 2i. See, you are getting 1 plus 2i. Only that is necessary. But whereas you go for %f, it will print 6 digits after the decimal place. Got it? So you understood the difference between println, and printf, right? Now, let me tell you what it returns, right? Printf, print, and println all return something. That is, it will return the number of bytes it writes and the error, if there is any error, that also it prints. Okay, so after printing the screen on the screen how many bytes of data are printed, right? So those many bytes will be returned back to bytes, and if there is any error, it will print error, right? I'll say fmt dot, let me say println, and I'll try to print bytes comma error, right? Let me put a slash in here because I want the data to be printed the next line. So let me put a slash in. I'll run it for you. So you're getting these data and the total number of bytes it takes to print the data, right? Or how many bytes of data are printed? Only 16. And is there any error? No, it says nil. No error means it will return nil. I hope you understood print, printf, and println. And now let us see how to use sprint, sprintf, and sprintln. Okay. Now let me take this out for some time. It's not required. Let me say print, right? First, let me start with print. So to print it on the screen, I'll say print followed by 3 variables. Now, if I want to print it to a buffer, right? I'm not going to print it on the screen. Rather, I'm going to print it to a buffer. I'll be using a method called as sprint. So I'll say sprint val1, ival, fval, and cval. I want all these data to be printed to a string. So I'll create a buffer. Right now I'm creating a variable and trying to store it. Now sprintf is not going to print it on the screen. Rather, it is going to take all these values and print it to the buffer with space separated. Now let us see how it prints. I'll try to print, say, buff. Let me save this and try to run this for you. So you got your data from buffer, right? So it is stored in buffer and it is printing what is there in buffer. If you want like some string or before to be printed as output, like say, let me say output, right? Just to see the difference. I'll save this. Let me clear the screen for you and run it for you again. Oops, what happened? I was expecting, oh, there's a comma. I have just missed a comma here. Okay, just nothing. Let us run it again for you. So you're getting output, everything. Say whatever you want the output, right? Whatever you want, in which format you want, you can print as it is, right? So it prints whatever is there in the string as it is, and data with comma separated will be stored in the buffer, right? And let me say fmt dot print to show you something, right? I'll say println, then say Enlightenment, right? Just to show you the difference between sprint, sprintf, and sprintln. I'm just writing this line. So let us see the difference now. So how this stores? This stores the data whatever you give here with the values, comma, space separated by spaces. Okay. So let me run this for you again. Okay. Now let me take this println out and show you the difference. If I take the println, it prints the output whatever is there in the buffer and followed by the next print line, right? Now this will not happen in println, right? The difference between sprint and sprintln, I'm going to share that, right? Let me share the difference. When it was print, just it prints as it is and then stops there. But when it is println, it stores everything in the buffer along with a new line, right? So I'm not making any change here. Everything is same except the println there. Now you can see your output will be printed and then the end line is the next line. Why it is there in the next line? Because the entire content will be stored inside the data buffer along with the new line. That is what the use of sprintf, right? Sprint prints the data to the buffer, but sprintln will store the data to the buffer along with a new line, right? A new line will be appended. I can say in that way, right? A new line will be appended at the end. Okay. Now, what is sprintf? It is as same as your sprint, but one thing is that I have to give your formats, right? What is the format? %d, %f, and let me give %g and %g as well, because we know what is the problem with %f, right? Okay, now let me do it for you. Now you can see the data followed by end line, right? There will not be any new line. New line will never be added in sprintf and sprint. Sprintf and sprint will just take the data, put it there inside the buffer, but sprintln will append new line to the buffer. Okay, got it? I hope you understood sprint, sprintf, and sprintln. Okay, let us go and see the usage of scanf. Let me take this out. It's not required for me now because I'm going to get input using scanf and printf. So I'm just taking everything out. So let me show you how to get input. To get input, I'll say fmt.scan. Now I need to give ampersand the variable name. So whatever variables are there, I need to give ampersand before, because if you don't give ampersand, the values will not be stored at the specific location. It will throw you error. It is a syntax error, right? So whenever you are using scanf, make sure that you're using ampersand. That is the address of the variable. I'm going to whatever input that I'm going to get from the standard input, that will be stored in the address of the variable. That is what it means, right? So I get input from the standard input, store it successively in the variables or operands that is given here in the particular address. Okay. Now one more thing is that I can get input with spaces, right? If I give first input, space the second input, space the third input, like that I can keep on giving with spaces, right? So whatever values you give successively with space separated, those values will be stored in the successive arguments that is given here, right? And one more thing is that here in scan, even the new line is considered as space. It means that even if I give the first value and press enter, second value and press enter, the data will be stored in the respective or successive arguments given here, right? So let me give a print statement to print and see what is there in that. Let me say println, I'll say ival, fval, and so sorry, this is a comma separated, I missed it, comma cval. Okay, so let me run this code for you. So it is waiting for me to give the input. Let me give 12, 23 and 34. I am giving the values with space separated. So whenever I give value with space separated, successive values will be stored in the successive arguments. Okay, now let me give enter. I'm sorry, I've given a wrong input for cval. It should be in the format of 0 plus I. That's the reason it is rejecting the value. Let me clear the screen. I didn't see that properly. So let me say 12, 23.45 and then say 1 plus 2i. Right? So whatever input I've given, it is printing it as it is. Can I give the input with enter? Yes, I can give. Let me clear the screen for you. Let me run it again. I'll say 12, 23.45 and 5 plus 6i. So you're getting the values. because like I didn't give any slash in here, I've just given println. Println will print the values with spaces in between, right? So you're getting 3 values. Got it? Okay. So if I want to print in a specific format, right, I can just say println and then say I val, and then I can say f val, and there should be a comma separating all these things, or else it will throw an error. Make sure that you're giving comma everywhere whenever you give some text and we are going to give the variables. Make sure that you're giving the comma, right, or else it will throw you an error, right? So let us clear this for you first, and then let me run it for you. So it's asking for input. Let me give 12, 23.45, and let me say 5 plus 7i. So you're getting the f val, I val is 12, f val is 23.45, and the c val is 5 plus 7i. So if I don't give any format, by default it takes the default format. Whatever based on the value that you're giving, it will take the format. But if at all, if I give printf, I need to give %d, %f, and %g, like that, right? If I don't want to give any format specifier or the verb, I can either go for println or print. Right? If I go for printf, definitely I have to give the format specifier. Okay. So now we have seen scan. Let us see Scanln. Right? Let us see what is the difference between scan and Scanln. Right? So let me clear the screen for you. Let me give the input. I'll say 12, 23.434. Okay. I'll say 2 plus 6i. No problem. Your values are getting stored properly and you're getting the output. Right? So if at all I try to give input like this, 12, enter, gone. Scanln, when it encounters a new line, it will stop. It means that is the end of the input. It will consider it as end of the input. So for scan, you can give enter, but wherein for scanf, you should never give enter. You with me, guys? Okay, fine. So let us see scanf now. So when I say scanf, I may need to give the format, specific formats. How will I give? %d, %g, and %g. You with me? Okay, fine. So let us run this. Let me clear the screen for you. So 12, I cannot give enter. Even in scanf, I cannot give enter. I have to give only space. If I give enter, it will throw me in an error. If at all you want enter to be done, you need to go for scan. Okay, so 23.45, and then I say 12 plus 7i. You're getting? Okay, perfect. There is no problem here. So when I say scanf, you need to make sure that you're giving the specific format there. If you don't give format, you will be in trouble. You with me, guys? Okay, fine. Now let us see the usage of Scanf, Sscan, and Scanln. Okay. So let me create a buffer first to store something. Let me say buff, and then let me say 10 space 23.34 space 1 plus 2i. Okay. Now my data are there in the buffer with space separated, right? So that is how it identifies which value is that. Now if I want to scan everything from the buffer, I'll use Sscan, this fmt dot Sscan, and then I'll say where I'm going to read it from, buff, that is my buffer, and then I'm going to store it in, sorry, ival, fval, and finally cval, right? So for every variable that you're mentioning in scanf or Sscan, you make sure that you're giving ampersand, or else it will not be stored the data in the specific location. It will throw you error. Okay. Now your data will be stored in ival, right? It will take the data from the buff with the space separated. First value 10 will be stored in ival, 23.34 will be stored in fval, and 1 plus 2i will be stored in cval. How did it identify the values? With the help of spaces, right? So let me try to print. I'll say println. Let me try to print ival, comma fval, and comma cval. Right. So let me save it. Let us check if there are any syntax errors. I believe there is nothing. Let me clear the screen for you. Let me run it again. Okay, so you're getting 10 for ival, and 23.34 for fval and 1 plus 2i for cval. So it is separating the values and storing in the respective places. Yeah, fine. So now can I give a /n here? If I give a /n, what will happen, right? As far as scan is concerned, if I press enter, the new line will be considered as space. The same way Sscan also considers all the new lines as space only, right? So either you give space or you give new line, that doesn't matter, the data will get stored, right? So it can identify /n and space as well. Scan alone. For Scanf and Scanln, it doesn't work. Okay, so now let us see how to use Scanln. So if I say Scanln, it'll you cannot use /n there, it'll throw you error. So let me save it and run it for you again. You can see the data are separated and stored in the ival, fval and cval respectively, right? If you want to identify whether it is ival only, right, I'll say ival. Let me give a comma here, it is must, and then say fval. Let me give some legitimate space so that you can identify the values properly. And then finally I give cval. Okay, so let us save this and clear the screen for you. So you can see that ival is stored with 10, fval is stored with 23.34 and cval is stored with 1 plus 2i. Right now if I want to do it with scanf, what should I do? Scanf, one thing is must. What is that? The format. Which format? First is integer, second is float, and third is, let me give G for both because I don't want extra zeros to be added. So G for float and G for complex. So make sure that you're giving the format for Scanf, right? For Scanf or Scanf or Printf, you have to go with format because it looks for the format, right? Okay. Your data will be stored based on the format specifiers. Yeah, you got it, right? Ival is 10, fval and cval, everything is getting stored properly, right? Now what this Scanf, Scanln and Sscan returns? It returns two arguments. One is the number of inputs that it is getting, and next one is the error. If there is any error, it throws. Okay, so let us go and give you, right? Let me say count and the error, right? Let me try to print the count and error for you. I'll say fmt dot println and I'll say cnt comma err, right? So let us try to print and see what is the count, how many counts it gets stored, and what is there any error. It gives you 3. Why 3? Because 3 arguments are there, it is giving you 3, right? So let me try to give f here, right? I'll just give d here, right? So let us see what it happens. It throws you an error. Can you see that? Bad verb %d for float 32. What is the value that I'm getting? The value that I'm getting is float 32, but I'm using %d. That's the reason it's throwing an error. How many inputs it got? It got only one input because after that it stopped. After that, after getting the first input, it stopped, saying that it is a bad verb, right? Let me give you the message here. Error. And let me say fmt dot println and then say inputs got, and I'll use cnt. It'll give you the number of input that it got, and you need to give comma here, don't forget, that's very important, right? So let me clear the screen for you and run it again. Okay, so it got the first value. After that, it didn't get any values. It is printing the default value, that is 0, right? So inputs got only 1, and error, what is the error? Bad verb %d for float 32. It is a float 32, but you're trying to use %d. That is the error it is throwing. The same thing for scanf as well. Either use scanf or scanf, it returns count and error. Okay. Fine guys, I'm done with this video. If you have any doubts or queries, please comment in the comment section. I'll definitely get back to you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.